little bit out of order, but 6.5, well, it won't be out of order, you guys, but I'm going to do 6.5 because normally I don't even do this one in class. This is pretty much calculated work by the time I get to here. Everybody has already gotten the hang of whether they should or should not be memorizing that unit circle. I've not had a class where I made a memorized unit circle probably in about 6 years when I had a class of mostly engineers and they need that kind of thinking and setup. Normally I have other majors. I did it because it's online and this is easy. This is pretty much a straight shot off the calculator. If you set that calculator in radian mode, just in case you don't know, the little mode buttons up here at top, the third line down, you have a choice between radians and degrees. Just put your little blinky cursor on whichever one you want and hit enter, and then do that second quit. But anyway, this is all radian mode. You can plug it in the calculator. I did a lot of this off of that chart I showed you in the other book because I happen to know that 3 pi over 4 and 5 pi over 4 and all that stuff is on that unit circle. But in general, this is calculator work. This is just mechanics of practicing and practicing and practicing. I do this in stats class. I make everybody practice on the calculator because you live and die on it. But because you have so many options in this class, I don't. If the unit circle works for you, sketch it a few times. You'll memorize it by using it. If the calculator works for you, Google a YouTube video on how to do it if you don't already know, or you can ask me. If you find a website that you like that you're familiar with, and if Photomath does it, I mean, we've got plenty of options here. This is pretty much just plugging it into the calculator. If it weren't a calculator gig, if it were back before calculators were prevalent, it'd just be a chart. You'd have to learn to read the chart. Just like learning to read the logarithmic scale. All that stuff is a skill outside of the math skills. It's a tool to do with it. So 6.5, these are pretty easy. Make sure you're in radian mode, plug them in. I do need to point out number 19 on the ones I did. The reason for that is, here is where the experience level is not going to meet what you need if you're a math major or an engineer. The answer to number 19. This calculator lives and dies in what I call function land. Math people like to have a single answer. You tell me this, I tell you the answer. You tell me the answer, I tell you where to go back to. That's a function. I know where I'm going, I know where I'm coming back to after I get done. It's a one choice option. It's not like going down to Florida and picking out of 15 hotel rooms. I go down to Florida, I go to this hotel room, I leave Florida, I come back and go to my house, and that's it. One-to-one setup. I'm going there, I'm coming back here. Because of that, 19 is not exactly the right answer. The sine of 5 pi over 4, if you build on that circle, as you count around, 4 pi over 4 is exactly 180 degrees. The next one down is 5 pi over 4. Technically, that is a negative y coordinate. That is below your x-axis, below the horizontal. Your calculator does not deal with that. It will take that 5 pi over 4, it will spit it back to being a pi over 4 choice in its little brain. It will tell you a positive answer. That doesn't make that wrong. It just means your calculator isn't thinking about it the way you're thinking about it, or the way I'm thinking about it. So you're going to have some positive and negative issues. That's going to be a big deal in a later section because I'm going to completely gloss over the positive negative issue unless it turns out I need it for this class. Because the mechanics and the problem solving and the taking stuff apart is what you need. Not necessarily exactly every positive, negative, correct solution. We're trying to learn some trig. We are not trying to be perfect. Perfection comes with experience. One semester does not give you experience. It just gets you started. So you have a couple of positive negatives. 19 was the one that came to mind because when I worked off my chart and I was flipping around, it was the easiest one to mess up. So if you come up with an answer that is correct but only the wrong sign, don't sweat it. If you want to, make a little note saying, I think this should be the other sign, but I don't really know why, I'll give you credit for it. Knowing that it might be wrong or knowing how you got the wrong answer is really a fair amount of experience.